Hello guys and girls. We will now continue where we left off. So the last time we created a decoil component, but I have another way of changing our reticle. So delete the add decoil component, delete the set world location, and then drag out from our get control pawn and type in add static mesh component, this one here. Click again manual attachment and plug in the event begin play in our execution pin. Now drag out from the return value here and type in set world location and rotation. Select this one here and connect it with the event tick and with the enter pin of the gate. Now the next thing I want you to do is click on add static mesh component, and then you need to specify a static mesh. We created our plane, so click on the static mesh or on the none here and select the plane mesh. The next thing, a very important step, is that you go on to this right panel and search for something called collision presets. We don't want our mesh to collide with the environment. It will create all kind of weird behaviors. It can potentially hit static meshes, here simulated meshes, weird collision data, and all this kind of stuff. So change the collision presets to no collision and untick cast shadow. We probably don't want to use casted shadow. So compile and save. Now we could just plug our location into this here. Yeah, well, let's try it. Okay, nothing happens. That's because we didn't specify a mesh, a material for our plane mesh. We didn't even set it up. So that's what happens if you don't give a static mesh, a material. So right click on our curve reticle decoil material and click on duplicate. We will call it curve reticle mesh. So our curve reticle mesh will be our material for the plane mesh. So double click on it and it will open our material editor. So the only things we need to change here is that we change the material domain here and click on surface, and we change our blend mode from translucent to masked. We don't want to see all the black borders and such, and we want to use our alpha mask, so that's why we use the mask mode again. The cool thing with this mesh approach is that you can use opaque materials and they will glow. It's just a different setup. So connect our alpha channel here to our opacity mask if you didn't already do so, and we don't want to have this mesh shine a lot, so right click and search for constant and make it around 0.5 and plug it into the roughness. And for our metallic value we will plug nothing into it, so it won't be used. Okay, so save, and it will take a little bit of time. And that's a thing you need to get accustomed to. Unreal Engine likes to make you as a user wait. So that's that. Now it glows and it's an opaque material. Wonderful. So now we set up our cursor reticle mesh. We can go back to our El Diablo PC. Click on our add static mesh component. And we can select on the materials our newly created cursed reticle mesh. The other way to do it is you can minimize the El Diablo PC, go directly into the plane mesh, so double click on plane mesh, which brings us to the editor to manipulate static meshes, and we can set here a material which will be used as a default material for this mesh. So click on it and select cursed reticle mesh. Now here's a problem. When we use in the El Diablo PC, if we use the location of our initial hit, it will basically put our mesh right here, and I will show you what happens now. This happens. It will flicker, and the problem is because the static mesh, because we use here static mesh, actually occupies the same space as our ground mesh. So they are colliding with each other, or kind of the rendering has trouble telling them apart. And to fix this problem is to give it some kind of offset in the up axis, in the Z axis. You can do it with dragging out from the location pin and type in plus vector 5 in the Z axis and connect it to the new location. But it will basically do weird kind of shit here. I can tell you it will not align properly if you rotate it and if we use the new rotation. It will do the same if you have an angle or anything like that. So that's not the right solution. There's a much easier solution than that. So delete the plus vector. Go into our plane mesh again, into our static mesh editor. Go down here in our details panel and search for something called, I need to find it, import translation, and put into our Z axis, our up axis, a 2. This will basically offset our mesh in the positive Z direction, so upwards. But it will not just change it to the offset right now if you save it or anything like that. You'll need to re-import it again. So click on Asset up here and then click on Re-import Plane Mesh. The camera will do all kind of weird shit right now and will basically set us into our plane mesh, but you can just go out of it with the WASD keys and move around, and the offset was made right now. Okay, so we can close the plane mesh, go back to our El Diablo PC, and now we can input our location directly into our new location. And when we drag out from the normal here, we can search for something called make rot from Z, this one here, and plug this return value or rotation here into our new rotation of our static mesh component. What this basically does is that it takes the vector of the normal it hits and translates it or converts it into a rotation on the Z-axis. So that way our mesh will always be oriented in the direction of our upwards z-axis of the respective mesh you hit. So it should look like this. Then save it. And if you want to change the scale of the reticule, just go under scale and type in a lower number. Or if you want to make it bigger, just type in a higher number in these boxes here. Okay, let's try it out. Let's play. And it does it right. And when we go to a static mesh component, it rotates to the upwards z-axis. Wonderful. So we will continue to use this method, and the cool thing is just that you can use opaque materials with it and have glow things on it, and well, basically the widget system and the decal system has both its downsides, and this approach is the most, well, the best one of these two. They have all their merits and all their advantages, and I will not tell you what to use. I personally think this version is better, but you can use the decal one or you can use the widget one. What actually helps your purpose? You are the designer, and you are basically creating the game mechanics. So all people who know better or say some things to you like you should do it like that or you should absolutely do it like this, should not tell you what to do. Basically, you are the creator, you can do whatever you can and want to do, but there are also people out there who will give you advices why not to do something because it may decrease importance or anything like that. So the basic gist is take advices, but don't let others change your way, okay? Because you are the designers and you will have the final say of it. So it's your baby, it is your, well, you are pouring your heart into it, unlike these damn asset flippers. And it is your project, it is your passion, and nobody should invade it and destroy it for you. So take in advices, but don't let others control your things or your decisions. So this was it for the part 5. In the part 6 we will still improve some of our functionalities, like auto moving. When you click on like for example here, it will move our character to this point until you click onto another place or another location. Because right now we need to hold the left mouse button, and well, it's not ideal because you will eventually get tired of clicking or holding down the mouse button all the time. And that's what we basically will do in the next part. So I wish you a wonderful day, a wonderful weekend, a wonderful whatever. And yeah, it was again very enjoyable. I hope I didn't confuse the hell out of you. But yeah, well, I'm out and I hope I see you next time. See ya.